continue to talk to Steve. We already covered the funniest part of the whole conversation, so.
Hi, Mark. My name's Steve.
Wait, is Jay recording or not?
I am recording for some
reason.
You
are recording. Okay. Why don't you do the intro, Jay? I can't do anything before the intro.
I know. I'm trying to do the intro. It's not playing for some reason.
No way. We're having technical difficulties?
I know it's hard to believe, but we might be having... But everything else is working. That's so weird. I know. It's awkward starting the show without the song, right?
It really is. Could you hum it?
Do we remember all the songs?
Okay, we are recording though, right, Jay?
Yeah, we are recording.
Okay, Jay will play this song at some point. We are here at the Brink of Sanity, and we have a guest not named Jackson on the show.
That's absolutely right. I'm not named Jackson at all.
As I said before Jay started recording, we have a guest on. Jay told me a little about the guest. As always, I don't pay attention when he talks. And then I realized that we were coming on the show. I should figure out who we're doing the show with. I looked at our email, and I found an email from someone named Jackson, and I called him Jackson. And it's going really well.
I got it to work.
I then asked Jackson if he was in Australia. Jackson and then Steve said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then I asked Jay to hit record.
Okay, well, I could be the extra. I could be the extra Jackson if you like. If you want to make it a Jackson 6, I could be the 6th Jackson, whoever the hell that would be called.
You could be Action Jackson.
Action Jackson.
Didn't Bill Cosby do a movie where he was played a character called like Action Jackson?
I don't know.
I think Bill Cosby did a movie. Okay, it doesn't matter that much. Well, Steve, do you know Do you know all of Bill Cosby's film work?
I remember the Cosby Show vaguely as a kid, which is probably not a good angle to come at Bill Cosby. This has gone well. No, not really. I mean, there's going to be a bit of a cultural divide, I guess, with me being from the UK.
It's okay. I think it was a very, very I don't think it was a hit or anything.
Okay.
Actually, I think the movie. I'm totally wrong on the title. I think it was called Leonard Part 6.
Close though.
Do you remember this?
No.
Jay?
No.
And the joke was there was no Leonard Part 1 through 5. The other joke was he was a rapist. But those are the two jokes.
All right, let's make it official.
Hello, baby. Hello, nasty. Hello, there. Hello. I say hello. Hello, friend. Well, hello, little girl. Hello, my treacherous friends. Hello, operator. The beginning of everything. Welcome back, my friends. It's showtime.
All right, welcome to episode 391 of the Brink of Sanity. I am Jay, and with me is Mark and Steve. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Steve, should we play? Why don't you try? Let's give like little hints and see if I can guess which country you're in.
Okay, that's no problem, mate. I know you've had a lot of guests from the land down under, so there's a bit of a clue.
Okay, so not Australia. I hear the accent, and I'm terrible with accents. Are you from the UK?
Well, yeah, I've thrown you a bit of a kipper there, Mark, as we'd say over here. I am from the UK. That was a very bad Australian accent, so you're forgiven.
You fooled me 100% with the accent, by the
way. The next guest was New Jersey, so I'm glad I nailed it. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm excited to be talking to you guys. I'm a long-time fan, first-time caller. Blah blah blah. Listened to the pod for a long time, and thought that I could maybe help make you funnier.
That would be awesome. That would we do need it. This was part of Jay's effort to prove we have listeners by having them on the air.
I figured we had so few listeners, we were going to have each one on one at a time. And
one at a time.
When we get through them all, we'll just start from the beginning again.
And it's alphabetical, right?
Yeah. We thought maybe one of the better ways to grow the pod was just knocking on people's doors and doing the show with them.
I think Jay saw one day that I liked one of the tweets on Twitter and just thought, let's go from there.
Awesome. So Jay told me that you have a podcast, and it's about comic books, or am I just wrong about everything?
You're wrong about everything.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no. Mark, you're absolutely right. I'm from Pakistan, and I have this weird podcast where we talk about comic books that are translated from Hindi into Pakistan. No, I do a FIFA podcast where video gaming.
Okay,
and
go on.
I teach people how to get better at video games with the benefit of hindsight. It's a wonderful thing.
Close though, Mike.
I bet
you were almost there.
Yeah.
I apologize for my complete lack. I knew Jason said something I wasn't interested in. I just knew it was FIFA and video games, not comic books. You bet your podcast is awesome. Better than ours because it has to be. But awesome. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. I feel slightly intimidated by the fact that I'm actually not very funny, and I'm on a comedy podcast. So that's I'm hoping you guys are going to carry me.
We put comedy in quotes, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay then.
The Brink of Sanity. We put the quotes in comedy.
So tell us about your. So you teach people how to play video games better. What kind of video games?
Football games, and I mean the original fine English version of the game, not the one where you don't use your feet.
Can I ask you how annoyed are you? I mean, most of the rest of the world has to be so annoyed that America's just like, yeah, we're just gonna call this football, but it's the most popular game in the world, and we all call it. Yeah, we're calling it football. That game's soccer. But that's what. No, yeah, it's soccer. And also, these people who are they're also Indians. We call everything the wrong name because we're just such assholes.
You're leading me down a hole there, Mark. It's brilliant. I mean, one of the things that I love about America is that any sport you play, you're automatically the world champions of it, right? So
yeah, the World Series. In fairness, the World Series has been won by a Canadian team before. But we like
Blue Jays, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We like to not have. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing though. Most World Series are won by American teams.
What we've got at the moment is we've got an American coach coaching one of the big English soccer teams over here. A guy called Jesse Marsh.
Oh, I thought his name was Ted Lasso.
I was going to say, are you just talking about the show Ted Lasso?
No, but there are parallels there, and God love him. He's not quite the normal football manager, as we'd call them, rather than coaches. Manager, coach, but he brings this energy, and it gets so wearing when you're used to hearing interviews with managers where they're going like, well, yeah, at the end of the day, we've given our best out there, and sometimes the ball rolls for you, it doesn't. Jesse Marsh comes on here, and he's like, well, hey, yeah, it's like, well, the guys are amped, and perhaps it wasn't our best performance, but we're going to perform next week, and you're going to want to watch it.
It still sounds like Ted Lasso to me.
Yeah, it just sounds like a Ted Lasso. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
I saw the first season. Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
It's a very romantic depiction of how things are.
It's a weird show because it's like the setup is he's an American football coach, gets hired to coach
right.
Like a
Premier League team.
Yeah, and like it's a funny setup, and then they do nothing with that whole premise. The premise is nothing's done with the premise whatsoever.
It's kind of rom-com sort of. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a bit, and then Sudeikis. That's the actor, right?
Yeah,
Jason Sudeikis. He is a very, very funny actor. He was on Saturday Night Live. I've seen him in other things. I think he's hilarious, and to that role, he's brought no comedy whatsoever. They tell no jokes. There's at most in an entire season, you're like, that was funny, but I feel good. It's a weird show that everyone seems to love, and you can't figure out why people love this show.
Feel good show. I mean, I've never got romantic comedies really. I've never loved Love Actually and all that sort of nonsense. But maybe I don't have a heart. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a heart. So, but it's a weird because it's not even like things work out. I think he's like divorced in the show. His wife leaves him in the first season. So, spoiler alert, it's a bad show. But like there's nothing like that. But yeah, he keeps a good spirit. And I guess during COVID, it was like, oh, this guy's in a bad situation, hasn't killed himself. I like this.
Yet, and that's the cliffhanger.
Oh, is that he kills himself?
That's the series finale. He kills himself.
What? Let's not spoil it.
I have not seen the second season, so maybe it takes a better turn. So so you guys, so you said that you liked or Jay liked a tweet of your, or you liked it, whatever, something about Twitter. Are you guys prepared for life after Twitter?
Elon, is that where we're going?
There was an article I saw in the New York Times today that I thought was worth bringing up. It's called "How to Prepare for Life After Twitter." The idea being that Elon Musk is doing a heck of a job at Twitter, and there's a chance that maybe after he's done with Twitter, it will be done itself. And how would you move on with your life? And by the way, so Elon apparently sent out a letter to all employees saying, we're going to move to Twitter 2.0. It's going to be very engineer-centric. We're going to have to work super hard. And basically, either you're all in or take your 3-month severance. What would you guys do if at work you got that kind of letter about your job? Like, they're like, either we're going to work 150% or just take your severance right now.
Yeah, the long hours, the taking away remote working, and like, I would probably just take the severance. It sounds like he just wants everyone to basically like be slaves.
Well, I think. Sorry, go Steve.
Well, I was just going to say I don't want to get overly political on this, but I'd feel like I'm self-employed, so that's good.
Living the dream.
If you're living off your podcast, I'm going to cry for how bad our podcast is done. You're like, you guys don't live off your podcast? I mean, the money, like, it's crazy, this podcast business.
Mark, you divert me. I know you're very good at that, but this, I've always felt like any time that I'm working for somebody else, I'm basically being exploited. They're taking a slice of what I'm earning. And that's even when I was doing the bare minimum, right? So if somebody's saying to me, okay, I want you to double your output so I can take double the slice off you, I'm gonna be looking at that twice and thinking, yeah, no, maybe that's why you're rich.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done it. So I guess what he, looking at the letter, he said, like, if you want to be part of new Twitter, please click yes in the link below. Which is a funny, like, click yes if you want your job still. This will mean working long hours, high intensity. Only exceptional performance will constitute a passing grade.
Acceptable. I think I guess, had like 48 hours to make this life decision as well.
Yeah, I guess on one hand, if you're like, hey, I need people who are psycho committed to my job, and so I'm just going to basically self-select the people that are psycho committed. The people that are in for this and want to work insanely hard, they'll click yes, and they won't complain because they click yes for working these hours.
Or let's be honest, people who've got no fucking idea of what they want to do with their future, you're going to impulsively click yes, aren't you? Surely.
Here's I'm gonna let's Steve. We're gonna go through. Cut to our first bit. You want to be on a bit with us?
Let's do it.
You want to be my dad? Dad.
I didn't get a choice in that.
You have no choice. You have to be my dad.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what it's like doing a show with Marc.
When you came in my mom, you became my dad. There's no choice beyond. Wear a fucking condom if you don't want a choice. Dad. I've been working at this crazy. Thank you. I like when you call me son. It's so nice. Thank you for rubbing my head like that. Dad, I got this email at work. It's going crazy at work, and I don't know what to do. I got to keep my job, but now they say I have to work twice as hard. And I'm barely getting by. Jen is gonna leave me if I work any harder if I'm not around. But now Elon says I have to work harder. What do I do? And if the job market's terrible, what do I do, Dad? Please.
What were the options, Mark?
God, you never have good advice.
What were the options? Was it yes or no?
The options were yes or no. Yes, work hard. If I work hard, Jen is going to leave me. You know she's going to leave me. And if I hit no, I'll be unemployed, and then Jen is going to leave me. Because she's in it for the money, that bitch.
Life sucks. Get better friends than Jay and click yes.
Okay. I guess I'm all in on this. Thank you, Elon.
You left out the 3-month severance. That's kind of a big detail.
The 3-month severance is not bad. I mean,
you were playing it off as like work twice as hard or just get fired. Like, I think the severance is a big part of that.
But you've got to assume that the people they're probably doing their best, right? There's this old idea that
hang on? You just said when I work for other people, I kind of just give the bare minimum. I know Jay. No offense, Jay. I bet you don't give your best at work either. So I'm guessing a lot of people there weren't giving their quote-unquote best.
I mean, I try hard at my job, but if somebody said you're going to work longer hours and twice as hard, I might think about that severance button.
Yeah, I mean, 3 months isn't that long. I mean, it's enough time in a good job market to find something, but like,
it's tight. Yeah, I mean, like an interview process now takes like 2 months. So like, if you started an interview process right away, it would still be cutting it close. But if he's saying that in an email, think about how bad it's going to be in practice, because they're never going to tell you how bad it is in an email like that.
How do you think the reference would go if you click no? Do you think you'd get a decent reference?
Well, I think if you click no, you have the explanation of like, you have the explanation that Twitter, like, Elon took over. I don't like where the company's going, and I just thought it made more sense to leave. I think a lot of people would buy into that, though. If you're looking for another job in the tech sector, people will be like, "Yeah, same deal here. Work hard, get paid less." No, I think tech is supposed to be pretty generous. I don't fucking know.
It would make for something on the CV where the reason for being fired from your last job: click the wrong button.
Click the wrong button. What's reason for leaving last job? Guy on platform I was working on took over platform I was working on and told me I had to work harder.
You clicked yes, I don't want to work anymore. You should have clicked no, I don't want to get fired.
Yeah, you just screw up the no and yes thing.
That was a Simpsons reference.
Oh, okay. That what season?
I think 7.
Okay, I can't believe I did not get that reference.
They were at like a lodge somewhere, and there was like a talking like bear thing, and it said, "Do you want to hear the bear roar?" Or click yes or no, something like that. Anyway,
Steve, did you grow up in the UK?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious.
Okay.
Just like comedy differences, like comedy taste. I don't know if The Simpsons, like, is The Simpsons, are they a show that you really like?
Well, they've always been around. The Simpsons basically is something that's shown around, I'd call it tea time, dinner time, 6 o'clock in the evening, pretty much when there's nothing else on. So you get the reruns. But having said that, I was of the age, I think we all kind of ushered The Simpsons in, right?
Yeah.
So I had the Bart Simpson T-shirt when I was 17 with "Eat My Shorts," you know.
Yep.
Because it seemed rebellious at that time.
Well, you guys are probably a little cooler than we are. Those "Eat My Shorts" shirts got banned in the United States.
Really?
At school. At school.
At school.
Yeah,
At
it was
school.
cool.
Not banned from the country, but banned like wearing in school. But it was also like, it's rebellion. Eat my shorts, but buy Butterfingers as I shill for a company. So here's, forgetting The Simpsons for a second. What I really want to ask you is, what do you consider your 5 funniest shows that your 5 favorite comedies?
My favorite comedies.
Could be cartoons, could be regular show, could be live action. I'm just curious, from your sensibility, what do you consider the top comedies of all time for shows?
I'll start off with one that we can both recognize, I guess, which would be The Office.
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
The UK or the American?
I'm going to go with the UK version because that was the one that I saw initially. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen too much of the American version.
Okay.
The American one's like funny the first couple seasons. It's like mediocre from there. Jay, have you ever watched the UK version?
Yeah.
And what do you think?
I thought it was all right. I thought it was like equivalent to like the first season of the US one. I thought they were both like had funny moments but weren't like hilarious.
A lot of this is going to be lost on a podcast, which is, you know, audio rather than visual. But a lot of it is the comedy is the pauses where it sort of brief looks to the camera and what have you, and those moments. And I think that's a very English thing. I think that that's something that's maybe translated to America because, right, I'm going to get shot to pieces for this. Our comedy can be quite dry.
Yeah, no, that's why.
Yours is more slapstick, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, it's brilliant. You built on it. You built on Chaplin and Buster Keaton, and you know.
I agree. I think different cultures have like different sensibilities of what they think is funny, and that makes the U.S. is probably a little more slapstick oriented. Yours is a little more dry. That's why. So, Office, what else? And I understand Office there was also a gigantic hit when it first came out.
Honestly, it'd be mainly stuff that you've never heard of.
I'm curious. I'm curious how much our stuff translates over there also. So give us 4 other shows.
American shows. Thinking of American shows.
No, they don't have to be.
Think of
They don't
British
have to be American shows.
I mean, like stuff like Newman and Baddiel, which is stuff that you've never heard of in your life.
Jay and I were just huge Newman and Baddiels. I played
I
Newman, sometimes he played Baddiel.
Yeah.
that was our first podcast, the Newman and Baddiel podcast.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I was like Newman, and Jay's like Baddiel.
There's only one episode, but it was gold.
Come on, you asked me the fucking question. I'll give you an answer.
I know. I was hoping you'd at least name British shows I know. Like I know Black Adder, which I really like. Black Adder.
Right, okay, but
Faulty
Black Adder's
Towers.
brilliant. Okay, right, okay, yeah. You thanks for the lead, Mark. Black Adder. I mean, a lot of this was a lot of humor. I think is kind of cliquey. It's what's in at the moment. And when I was a kid, yeah, definitely Black Adder. And you were kind of trendy as well. If you were, it was a bit retro to watch Faulty Towers and what have you. Basil.
I love Faulty Towers.
Whacking a mini with a bush and.
Faulty Towers is so good.
Yeah. Which is incidentally, a lot of scenes have been cut from Faulty Towers these days. They show reruns on the BBC, and they cut scenes because they've been deemed unacceptable these days.
Is it the one where he was walking around like a Nazi in front of a war veteran during lunch and gave the guy a heart attack?
I think it's where he basically called Germans Nazis. So,
But wait, that's not acceptable to call Germans Nazis?
Because not all Germans are Nazis, obviously.
Yes, it's a Venn diagram, and we're just not going.
That was a funny episode, by the way.
I remember just finding it all hilarious, but I haven't seen it in many years. I thought it was funny also Black Adder. So Rowan Atkinson, and I guess that show probably was bigger there. Wasn't as big in the U.S. But when he played like a sarcastic, clever character, wasn't popular in the U.S. at all. Then he switches to a character where he's a complete moron, just doing slapstick, stupid humor. And America's
Mr.
like,
Bean.
oh my God, he's so funny. He doesn't talk, and I like my humor without talking.
His new show just came out.
Oh, he's got a new show?
Man versus Bee. And a bee invades his property, and he basically like destroys the entire neighborhood trying to fight this bee. It's like a 9-episode miniseries. Is he
Mr. Bean-esque, or is he like an angry, like what kind of humor is it?
I only watched the preview, but I'm gonna watch the series because it looks good.
Well, okay. I think that you guys have got this kind of idyllic view of England as being the kind of place where a man could quite reasonably spend the afternoon chasing bees around and just going through this little green village and wandering past the church, chasing a bee, getting quite angry that he can't catch the bee. And it's not like that. We have murder, pillaging, right? It's, you know.
Do you work for the tourist bureau? We have murder. We have pillaging. Come to the UK.
I'm trying to give you a level view of it, Mark. That's all. You know.
I always picture the
maybe
UK like
I could lie.
You go to a pub. Everyone knows your name, and you're like, "Hey, let's hang out here."
Well,
and watch.
I thought that was Cheers, where everyone knows your name.
I thought Cheers was set in the UK. I'm sorry.
Boston. Well, actually, Boston.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, I'm from a place in Lincolnshire where the Pilgrim Fathers first set sail.
Oh.
So we have the original Boston here, about 20 miles from where I live. We've got a place called New York, and we've got a Philadelphia. So technically, I'm probably more American than you guys.
I am so dumb because I did not know there was a Philadelphia or a Boston in the UK.
I didn't either. And I thought there was a York, not a New York.
We have a York and a New York. Check out the Google Maps.
Okay, so I was right about York.
Yeah, but I didn't realize they had a New York. I thought the whole point that this was the New York.
It's tiny. It's got about 4 people living there. But honestly, there is a town called New York.
Are you a fan of the show Bottom?
Bottom. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's probably the crossover show because that has the sort of the cerebral comedy, but also whacking people over the head with
extreme
saucepans.
Slapstick right in the middle of like it'll be like 15 minutes of like witty talking and then like a 5-minute like uber violent slapstick scene.
Yeah.
It's the 2 guys from The Young Ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I mean, that's going right back to the origin of the comedy that I'm kind of into, I suppose. The young ones, Rick Mayall, Ade Edmondson, and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great generation of comedy. That was back in the days where you could say anything pretty much, and the people wouldn't take offense if you crossed minor boundaries.
Yeah, I watched an episode where like the cable guy comes over and they don't want to pay the bill and they just like murder the cable guy.
Right, as you would.
I do think that people they say comedy like it's. I don't know if people are as sensitive as like comedians make them out to be. I think on Twitter maybe there's always, no matter what you say on Twitter, you could say puppies are cute and people are like, you're a Nazi. But outside of that, I think if you're funny, you're funny. I think I always think comedians are like, audience are too sensitive, and I'm always like, yeah, you're just telling shitty jokes now.
To an extent. I mean, there's always going to be the one Twitter person who does go out to a comedy club, but I think it's safer at a comedy club than it is telling a joke on Twitter, because I think Twitter, there's an overwhelming percentage of people who are hyper offended. At a comedy club, you know what you're getting into for the most part.
What does it matter if you're offended, though? Let's cut to it. What does it? If you're offended, what's going to happen to you?
I have been offended, and being offended is just bad for my health.
But Mark, you're not going to wake up tomorrow with fucking leprosy. You'll be okay. You've just been offended, right?
Well, if you had told me that I wouldn't get leprosy, then I would have been worried about being offended.
All right. You'll live.
So we solved
being
that.
Offended is not the end of the world, okay?
But I'm offended now by you not saying it's the end of the world, because I thought it was the end of the world, because I had this whole leprosy thing going.
You'll be okay. If your finger falls off, it's just a finger.
So our email is thebrinkofsanity@gmail.com. Lorenzo writes, taking a phone call in your house on speakerphone, and in the middle you need to go to the toilet, and you do so. Discuss.
I did that the other day. I was on a call. It wasn't a work call, but it was with some friends I was catching up with. And it wasn't that I had to go to the bathroom as much as I saw a bug in my basement, caught the bug, put it in the toilet, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just flush. And no one in the conversation seemed to say anything about the fact that I flushed on the conversation.
I had to do it.
I'm going off topic here slightly, but
it's okay. I'm still talking about this is all part of the topic of what to do after Twitter. We still haven't finished my topic. We'll get back there. Go on. Go off topic.
I'd been seeing this girl for not too long, and
okay.
I went to her parents' house for dinner, and unfortunately had to go upstairs to the toilet to get rid of solids, right? Should we say? I'm trying to be as polite as I can be here.
Mm-hmm.
And when it won't go.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
I'm up there
turtling,
flushing it once and thinking,
okay, sorry, I thought you were constipated. You couldn't get it down.
No, it's good. It all came out, Mark. But so I flushed it once and it's not gone. And it's that moment where you're thinking, like, what do I do? Do I flush it again? Because they're going to hear this, right? So you flush it again and it's still not, and you've blocked the toilet. That's maybe what would you do? Would you just... I've taken the time right downhill.
It's totally fine. I think they say that's one of the leading causes of murder. Usually that's how, like, home invasion, they usually started with a guest coming over, can't flush, kills the whole family and himself.
I haven't seen that comedy.
I guess, like, I'd be plunging for a while before I gave up.
I mean, that's another option. You've got
also was there
so you could try
was there a plunger there? Was there a plunger there?
Plunger? No.
Oh, there's no plunger there. So they gave you a broken toilet without a plunger.
I'm really sorry, guys, but I suppose one option at the side, which I didn't think through at the time, is that you've got a what we'd call a loo brush, where you clean the edge of the toilet and what have you.
Yeah.
So you could. I'm really sorry. You could try and force it down, I suppose. But
so what did you do?
I carried on flushing and felt really embarrassed when I went downstairs.
How many flushes though?
Did it go down?
But eventually, yeah. But
what if another thing you could
have done? After putting toilet paper down there to try and create that kind of push.
If it,
I'm
if it was
I'm doing a pushing motion with my hand.
So how many flushes? How many
the
flushes
pushing
are we
up
talking?
is really helpful.
I was about 18. I can't remember.
18.
Oh, I thought this was recent.
No, Jesus, no.
Wait, did you say 18?
Yeah, I was once 18. True story.
Why, Jay? Why is his age throwing you off?
No, I asked how many times he flushed.
I didn't commit it to memory, Jay. I'm sorry. I didn't know that I was going to be on a podcast at some point in the future where somebody would ask me that.
I thought you said you flushed 18 times, and I'm like, that could be a little awkward.
I remember the 18th one because I carved it into the wall.
You come down like 2 hours later. There's like
17. If it's not gone by the 18th, I'm jumping out the window.
You could have also, if it was a solid piece, you could have somehow got it out the toilet and put it into the garbage.
Can we move on? I'm so sorry for lowering the tone here. I'm so sorry.
What do you? So hang on. You come downstairs.
No.
Wait, hang on.
Marc.
What? Steve, you were upstairs a long time. What were you doing up there?
I really liked her as well.
I know. Stop talking about me in the third person. I'm here, right here, Steve. What were you doing upstairs?
Well, can you imagine it from the parents' point of view?
My parents are embarrassed. They've disowned me. So what were you doing?
He seems like a really nice guy, Jan, but I'm not sure how much water we've got left in the tank.
Wait, so her parents were there too?
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, that's the embarrassing sort of.
Did you keep dating? So you came back downstairs. You just said, "Oh, I was reading an interesting article on my phone." And they're like, that technology hasn't been invented yet. You're like, shit.
God, this is. I'm not painting a good picture of myself here, but no, I just sort of brushed it off, and an hour later went out to play golf with a dad, and
I probably would have just started packing up my stuff. I would have just started packing up my stuff and been like, "Oh, this is nice knowing you."
Yeah, well,
we don't need to discuss this. Bye.
20 years later, we're not together. Let's say that.
How long were you together for?
A couple of years, Mark. It was,
Okay, so
a university relationship, I guess.
Okay. Were there multiple times where you couldn't flush in her like every time you went over there, you're like, I can't believe I did this again.
That's your
Holy
thing.
Holy shit! Yeah, brilliant. Come on, let me off the hook here.
Okay.
Christ's sake.
So anyway, if you're trying to figure out how to get off of Twitter, there's an exit strategy according to this New York Times article. Do you guys want to hear about the exit strategy?
Is it just like log off and do something else?
Can we stop talking about logs and Christ's sake?
Okay, the first lesson, you to have an exit strategy, a plan for what to do with your data and contacts. Have you guys thought, ooh, if I leave Twitter, what will happen to my data and my contacts?
What are people doing? Are we doing Twitter wrong? I don't have data and contacts in Twitter.
And they give you a whole lesson about how to download your data and your contacts. What data is being stored on Twitter?
Everything
is data. Everything is data. Everything you do online, there's data. And some people say you need to protect your data, and other people are like, the hell are you even talking about? Do you guys know, do you understand what happens? Like, when you go to a website, they say, yes or no, do you accept these cookies? Do you know what that even really means?
No, but are you going to take that with you?
No, but I'm just saying, like, Steve, if you say no to accepting the cookies, does the website work differently?
Well, no, it does the same thing.
But I don't understand why they even asked you this question and how it affects you.
Well, I think because legally they've got to ask whether they're allowed to stalk you, basically. I think.
So if I say yes, they're allowed to follow me around the web. If I say no, they're not allowed to follow me around the web.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why is this a question that you're asked? Like, why would you say, like, if you understand it, why are you like, yes, follow me around, see what I do for the rest of the day?
Well, sometimes if you say no, they're like, okay, bye, and then the site doesn't work.
No, I've never seen that.
I've never seen that either, Jay. You made that up. Is that a thing on our website?
It is much easier to just click yes, right?
It's probably just for our podcast, and that explains the entire root of the problem.
I'm like, hi, Target.com. Oh, you want to follow me? Come with me to Pornhub. Let's hang out there.
You can learn all about my fetishes.
Yes. Oh, you thought that was too disgusting? Wait till you see what I look at in a half hour.
I'm just getting ramped up. It gets way darker from here, Target.
Oh, Target, are those tears in your eyes? Oh, you're gonna cry even more later. Lesson number 2 is to avoid over investing your time and energy on any one social media site. You should hedge your bets by posting on multiple platforms that serve your needs. Steve, have you been posting on multiple platforms that serve your needs?
My needs are just not met by Twitter, Jay. That's Mark. Sorry, that's the first thing that I've, you look the same. It's easy to get confused.
All white men look the same.
They do, yeah. To me, anyway.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't really have social media needs, I suppose. So I don't know. I get engaged with what I want to get engaged with, and leave it at that, I suppose.
What has to go through your life where you're like, and I maybe if you're so one-handed, maybe if you're a company that's using Twitter to like promote stuff, maybe that's what they're talking about. But as an individual user, like Jay, at what point you're like, how will I get my Twitter needs met without Twitter?
I mean,
what are Twitter needs? Can we nail this down a little bit?
Steve,
what would you need from Twitter?
You know what? Have you ever walked around like some common area where we're like in public, in like a park, walked around, just jumped into someone's conversation, called them an asshole, and argued with the other person?
That might be a New York thing.
I don't know. That's kind of what Twitter is. It's just jumping into conversations and arguing with people.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
I do that on Twitter all the time. Maybe I'd translate well to New York.
People say they're like it's the de facto town square. I'm like, if this was the town square, was like, holy shit, we should the human race should be over already.
This is the town square in Salem in the 1600s.
Yeah, exactly. This is the town square. I'm like, this has nothing to do with the town. I don't listen to people's conversations. People don't shout the news. I don't argue with people, with strangers. None of this shit happens. It's not a town square at all. So Steve, how are you hedging your bets with other platforms?
I'm absolutely not. I'm just strapping in and hoping for the best.
Oh, then you're not going to be a good place if things fail on Twitter. Your Twitter needs will be unmet.
Mark, you might be absolutely right. I don't have a cupboard full of tinned food either, just in case. That we had the news yesterday that missiles had landed in Poland. I'm digressing again slightly, but and Twitter was full of, the world's going to end. This is the start of World War III. Russia has bombed fucking Poland, right?
Yeah.
And then the news filters through that it was Ukraine that had accidentally fired them into Poland, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's all right. It's Ukraine. It's fine."
There's only two farmers. I mean,
I'm digressing. I know, but I don't worry too much about the future because it's unpredictable. You don't know how it's going to play out, and the people that are in control of this game, they'll do what they do. I think. Do I sound pessimistic? I don't mean to.
No, that's actually.
There was a whole, and just to digress on that Ukraine thing, there's a whole thing that the Poland might invoke the Article 4 of the NATO treaty, which everyone has to defend each other, and they were like, maybe, and we were like, oh my God, maybe now the U.S. has to defend Poland. We're going to go to war. World War III is going to break out with Russia. Then they're like, well, it was the Ukraine. Does that mean we have to invade the Ukraine also?
Yeah. Hey, don't ask that. You'll get cancelled.
Yeah. All right, what's number 4?
Of what, Jay?
This Twitter survival guide that you're reading.
Let me see what I think there were just 2 steps.
Well, that's the shittiest article ever.
It really they made a point about so there are other sites.
I thought the bare minimum when you do like a numbered guide is 5. I
thought 3 at the very least.
Yeah,
I'll go with 3. 2 would be a disappointment.
2 is a disappointment. So there's there are alternatives. There's one called Mastodon, which is a decentralized it's basically a decentralized Twitter, which means no one owns it, I guess. And when you go on it, you also get the idea that no one gives a shit about it, or no one keeps a shit about making it like a good working product.
That's how Twitter started.
Yeah, well, the first thing you do is I downloaded Mastodon. because I saw people are going on there. I was like, curious. And the first thing that they say is choose your server. I was like, oh, this is not going to catch on. What do you mean choose my server? And they're like, people create their servers. You go on their servers. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I have no idea what you're talking. I just pick the server, and then I go on there, and I would say 90% of all the tweets or their version of tweets were, wow, Mastodon's so great. Man, Twitter sucks. We're so much better than Twitter. It was just over and over people saying Mastodon's awesome and how great we are for being on Mastodon and how bad Twitter was. And I was like, yeah, Twitter seems like a better product. Why are you guys obsessed with talking about Twitter? So I tweeted, or whatever it's called again there, or tooted, I think it's called, this app sucks. Then shut it down. It also was trouble. It was working really slowly. Shut it down, or just like went off it and was done with it. 2 days later, I got an email saying your account has been suspended.
Awesome.
Jay, and also you'll be happy. The account I set up there was the New York Knicks podcast at Mastodon, and so we're banned from that site. Sorry.
Well, now we have no backup plan.
We should have hedged our bets.
Lorenzo writes, hey guys, what do you do with old technology, phones, laptops, etc.? Do you have a phone graveyard of sorts, or do you get rid of them immediately once you upgrade? Also, we need more stories from Marc about being a tight ass to make us all feel better. There haven't been as many lately.
Steve, let me ask you, if you've had multiple laptops, probably you have multiple phones. What do you do with those things? What do you have any concerns about the content on there? Like,
it's not something that normally concerns me, Mark. They normally end up with my ex-partner, and she disposes of them.
Okay, I would just say, like, beyond like the weird Google searches you might do, like your bank information's on there. Like, do you really want to just throw this away? I guess I have privacy concerns here. I've accepted too many cookies on there.
Well, surely you have a password. You've got it locked down, Mark.
I do. You know what? I hate having a password because I have trouble getting into my computer half the time because I'm like, what the hell is the password to get on my own computer?
You know what my computer password is?
Forgot password.
The enter key.
That's better. I'm trying to figure out how to get the password off the computer so I don't need it anymore. I have a pile of computers. I just don't throw them away because I don't know what to do with them.
I restored them to manufacturer settings, and then when I was in Queens, they had like a mass, like one day where everyone brought their electronics and they recycled all of them. It was like one day.
Would it be smart if they were like, everyone bring your electronics, and they were just like a bunch of thieves who just stole their data and then hacked your account?
It's just hackers.
Yeah. You're like, it's weird. The recycling place is in the back of this van. Yeah. No, don't look at our faces. So Steve, you have any? So your significant others take them away. Are you? So Steve, by the way, are you single? Just to go another topic. Are you single? You dating? You married?
Well, yeah, it's a litany of failed relationships, Mark. Really, where I leave all my computer equipment there. If I'm really unlucky, the phones will be left there. And but yeah, it's something that I've never really worried about. I suppose I just have my equipment with me.
Steve's gonna come back. He left his computer. He would never just leave his computer. I'm sure he hasn't left me.
Hey, look. Hey, here's how the story ends. Yeah.
A lady holding an iPhone 6, like, he's gonna come back. I know he's gonna come back. Maybe. And maybe one day I will need a phone. So I'm not writing anything off. So are you currently dating anyone?
No, I'm not. We always say we're happy.
What's up?
Excuse me. I choked on my vape. We always say we're happily single, don't we? I mean, you guys are both married, I guess. So this is, dim, distant memories. But we say we're happily single, but I miss it a bit. I miss the casual sex that you have before you don't go all in and get married, I suppose.
And then it stops.
Exactly. So that's
you're like, I miss having sex all the time, so I don't want to be married.
Yeah, that's the fine line I'm trying to navigate. But I mean, you get to a certain age, and you're thinking, well, I'm going to die lonely, right? Okay, nobody's going to care. I'm just going to wither away. I'm going to be one of these statistics that's found in a high-rise flat somewhere, on a sofa, where I've melted, and the cats are still barely alive because they've been eating me and then obviously that's something that I won't have to worry about. But it's at the back of my mind.
Do the cats get put down, or we're just like, well, the cats have a flavor for human, but they're probably not going to go for a human again?
Well, nobody cares what happens to the fucking cats, do they? That's people don't.
Yeah, people don't think about these cats. Like you find like that the family that's murdered over the toilet that won't flush, and the cat's eating the man, and everyone's concerned about the family, but what about the cat? The cat hasn't been murdered.
Exactly.
You really, like, if you can't flush the toilet and you murder the family, take out the cat also, because the cat's not going to live a good life
Mark,
afterwards.
When was the last time you read a news article saying that 3 cats were made homeless after 2 people were murdered in their own home?
So cats generally, I guess we've domesticated them, but generally they're not homeless. They're outside. That's where they're supposed to be. But I guess we functionally made this animal that lives outside homeless because we're like, we're going to break you so you can't survive on your own.
And you murdered the family that was looking after them.
Yeah, that's true.
Not you personally, obviously.
No, I mean, I if anything, I would say the plumber did. The plumber did a shitty job, and now.
All right,
we got those videos.
We got an email that I know you're gonna love.
Is it another Lorenzo?
It is another Lorenzo.
By the way, it's stories of me being cheap. I am often cheap, but Lorenzo, I will have to get back to you with stories of my tightwaddedness. There always a plenty, but Steve, do you consider yourself are you are you a quote unquote tightwad like myself, or are you a spent? How are you with money?
Oh, that's a hell of a question. I'd say that I'm reasonably liberal, Mark.
Okay, I don't even know what that means. Do you pay for abortions?
I've never had one so far.
Reasonably liberal.
If I needed one, I'd pay for one. Definitely.
Okay. No, the clinic down the street offered half the price, but they're busy. You should match their price.
All right. Email. That's right. It's time for another great moments in Brink history. I know Mark loves these.
Yeah.
So I think you've probably heard a couple of these, Steve.
Yeah, I'm aware of this.
Okay, so feel free to jump in and see if you can guess what the great moment.
If by the way, okay, if Steve can get this and I cannot. First of all, if Steve, you can get this. You are an amazing fan. I probably won't get it because I can barely remember last Thursday.
I'm just wondering if Lorenzo is going to be on next week as the other fan.
Why has Lorenzo never been on? Jay, get
know.
Lorenzo on. That would be if you told me you're going to book a celebrity or Lorenzo, I'm taking Lorenzo.
Yeah, fuck me.
Yeah.
I know. I will. Anyway, listen, Steve. I prefer you well over Jackson.
In March 2020, Mark had a hilarious slip of the tongue. What was it?
In an entire year, I had a slip of the tongue.
Is this when he was single?
Is this really? No, I've been married for. I haven't been single in like 17 years.
Okay, that's too vague. Clue number 1.
That's a really vague. Like, Mark said something in 2020. You know the year that the world shut down with COVID? Mark said something.
Well,
figure it out.
I think we're supposed to start with clue 1. So clue 1.
Okay.
There was a special guest, and it was not Mark, Jay, or Bry.
Dr. Fauci?
In 2020, I haven't looked ahead, so I don't know what this is either.
Okay, so the first clue is there was a special guest on the show.
Yes, in 2020 during COVID.
Like how many guests? And it wasn't you or I or
Bry.
Bry. And was it Doc?
I'm thinking Doc if it was 2020. Because
you don't know the answer.
I can't even figure out who was on the show.
I'm just thinking like COVID. We probably had Doc on to talk about it.
Oh, you're the guy from Alabama.
Rob,
yeah. Rob, who's very funny.
Oh, we might. Yeah, that's a good call. Might be.
He was on a couple episodes that year.
Yeah.
I'm betting it's Rob. Give us the next clue.
Okay. Clue number 2, Fight Club.
Steve?
What?
I have no idea where this is going. Okay, so I had a slip of the tongue. We're pretty sure it's Rob was on. And the movie Fight Club. Was it my pronouncing my love for Brad Pitt? Go on. I have no idea.
Well, the term slip of the tongue kind of infers to me that it was something that you'd regret, Mark, which I find hard to imagine.
I don't regret much.
No.
Yeah, I'm trying. Sorry, go on.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Clue number.
No, you're saying I probably made some reveal in the show. I didn't mean to. I don't know what I would have said. Go on.
Clue number 3. Jay's old workplace.
Ah,
Oh, so I said the name of Jay's old workplace.
I remember that.
But what would that have to do with Fight Club?
Isn't that where you used to work, Jay?
But would that be hilarious if you just...
Are we allowed to say where you worked, or you don't want us to say anymore?
Let's just say it rhymes with Rudy's.
Booties, the strip club.
So, but Fight Club and my old workplace, and like if you just said the name, it wouldn't be a hilarious slip of the tongue.
Steve, do you know where he worked?
Nudies is it all comes to I don't know.
They had a big role in the financial collapse, but Jay got there after.
All right, so he was responsible, but managed to escape the fire.
Jay's like, did I do that? Okay, so
it can't be you saying the name because that's not hilarious.
No, I don't know what Fight Club, and I know
Okay, let's see if there's a fourth.
Oh, maybe your old coworker. What's his name that used to come on?
Jansen?
Yeah, maybe Jansen. Where's Jansen? How's he doing?
He's doing all right.
Jay, how was your sleep study the other night?
Oh, it was great. So much fun.
Do they so you go to sleep there?
Mm-hmm.
When you wake up, is there any chance they haven't drawn a balls and a dick on your face?
Well, they do. They have to stick electrodes all over your head, so they put these big glops of glue on, and then they take the electrodes off, and then you still have these big, huge chunks of glue all over your head. So that's fun.
Steve, if you went somewhere for a sleep study to see if you could sleep, and they put all this shit on you, and you couldn't sleep, would you be like, what the fuck? Of course I can't sleep. I can't. You've proven I can't sleep with electrodes on me.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, I'd be kind of thinking as well that I'd be wondering who's overseeing it, whether this is the next step in Elon Musk's kind of, because we've got all that going on as well, haven't we? The brain implants where we're going to see things internally rather than having to look at a TV screen and what have you. I think they might be doing that to Jay.
Is that what they're gonna? I know there's some kind of thing where Elon has something where he wants to be able to like control things with your mind.
You don't want to know this great moment in Brink history?
We're gonna digress and get there, Jay.
I feel like we're
worried about you being mind controlled.
We're veering very far from the.
Do you know, Steve? Did I tell you that have you heard of the company Boston Dynamics?
Absolutely, Mark. Yes.
So they've pledged not to weaponize its robots.
Right.
They build robots. Sorry, Jay. Am I going off topic?
I feel like it's really some days it's extra hard to do a podcast with you.
Okay, go on, Jay.
I mean, we could do one.
You're not even concerned about the weaponizing of the robots.
You always say
the robots will be weaponized because you're not paying attention.
You always say you look forward to great moments in Brink history. Now you're completely derailing it.
Okay, go.
He put in all this work. So that's it for the clues. Hilarious slip of the tongue, special guest, Fight Club, Jay's old workplace.
I'm gonna guess that it's Jansen. That has to be the guest, and I don't think I can guess anything else. But if I get the guess right, I feel good about that. Okay. What do you think? How do you feel about that, Steve? You like my guess?
Can I take a guess at Suicidal Steven?
He was not on in 2020 though. He was on a couple of years. Did you listen when Steven was on?
Hey, I'm old school, man.
Holy shit, man! You're an awesome fan. Steven used to message us. I love you too. Steven used to message us all the goddamn time off the show. Right. If he's still listening, please, we just want to know if you're alive. Yeah. But he used to message us all the time. There's a bunch of random listeners that would message us a lot and then just disappear. Like Rosario.
Yeah.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
There was also a guy who was obsessed with giving us stock tips and was telling us you have to buy Tesla. You have to buy Tesla. You have to buy Tesla. I didn't listen. I would have 10x my money if I listened to him.
Yeah, he was right on every stock tip.
Yeah, we're morons. On the other hand, I had someone else who was like, "You should buy crypto," and I was like, "Yeah, Jay, that's a good idea." So what's the answer?
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Steve, do you have any other guesses, Steve?
Say what?
Do you have any other guesses for this thing?
No, absolutely not. I'm just tired of this segment and I want the answer.
Okay.
What's the answer?
Episode 332. 332 at the 5-minute mark. Oh, you're right. Jansen is introduced.
Nice.
saying how he and Jay were working together at the time. Jokes were made about Jansen taking the rap for talking bad about work on one podcast when Jay was on more than 300 episodes doing the same thing. This then led to a joke about Jay being Tyler Durden at the office. Marc goes on to grill Jansen about the workplace, but repeatedly keeps calling him Tyler. And that was another great moment in Brink history. That makes sense. I don't remember you calling Jansen Tyler for the rest of the episode, but it's good.
I mean, that could have happened. I mean, I've called this our guest. So Steve, if you see, you understand, this all fits together. I called Steve by the wrong name, and then later on, we had a great moment in Brink history where I called someone else by the wrong name.
And I'll end up being that guy out of Sons of Anarchy that drove into a lorry. Truck,
so
like in America.
Oh yeah. The
Jackson. That's the only Jackson I know. Jackson's not a common name here.
What does
There's Michael.
home?
We can't talk about that.
There's Jackson. There's I think there's 5 Jacksons actually.
How many Jacksons are left?
No, there's more
There's
than 5. There's more than 5.
There's more. How many are there left? I have no idea.
I don't know, but you're like Latoya and Janet weren't in the Jackson 5.
It's difficult to tell because they swap heads all the time and faces, and they look the same, I guess.
So what I don't understand, there's like he named his kids like Blanket and Prince, and that was many years ago. So they're like adults now named Blanket and Prince. I mean, the Prince or whatever that part. You're named Blanket and you're an adult.
Tricky.
It's tricky not to be met. What would you rather have? So Michael Jackson named you Blanket, or Elon Musk named your kid something unpronounceable, a series of letters. Have you heard about that one also?
No, I haven't. No.
He has a kid that he named. I think California rejected the name, but it was like a series of like letters and like symbols was the name of the kid.
Because names won't matter in the future, I suppose. Will all just be numbers, right?
Exactly.
Okay. I think it's ahead of the curve there, Mark.
Yeah. Who would you rather? Like your, I guess, who would you rather your dad be, Michael? Like, I guess you could have to rather Elon over Michael Jackson.
I'd go with Elon Musk because
he didn't do anything to kids.
Nothing provable at this point. You've got to be an optimist, right?
Yeah. You're like Elon Musk. There's a good chance he will at least not have the same fate as Michael Jackson.
Yeah, my name's damned if I'm Michael Jackson's kid. With Elon Musk, there's hope, right?
Jay, did you give Steven the top 5 we were gonna do?
I did. We have a question on Twitter.
Do it.
Patrick writes, best.
How much of this can I talk off? How much of this is edited? I mean, like you can cut shit, right?
I could.
Or is it just a live recording? Have I fucked things up here?
I mean, I'd rather not, but yes.
Brilliant. Okay.
What is there something you want to cut out?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Was there something you wanted to cut out? Was there something you wanted to say? And
no, I just thought I'd give Jay an editing nightmare by dropping that in there.
I'm going to pause the recording right now, and then you tell me. Okay, the recording's paused. What's up?
No. I was just wondering if it all had to be sort of no, mate. No, sorry. Okay. I was wondering if it all had to be ad lib or certain parts would be.
We're very unprofessional here.
Just go back to the recording. We appreciate it. Go back to the recording.
Sorry. Okay. Really sorry, guys.
So best movie.
Steve, I cannot believe you did that. The recording's back, so we can't talk about it now.
I didn't do anything, and you can't prove it.
Best film you've seen recently.
Steve, your voice is very soothing.
Thank you.
It could be like, do you ever you could do like voiceovers and stuff.
If you want me to put people to sleep, if this podcast is failing and that's the way it goes, I'm available.
Don't you find his voice soothing, Jay? Like he could be like an ASMR podcast.
Jay writes, Mark, do you have ADD?
I'm really tempted to lick the mic right now, but I.
Do I have ADD? Undiagnosed.
Okay. So
I do have trouble paying attention at work, which is not like. Do you find sometimes at work like you can't even like focus on work for the first 3 or 4 hours? Is it just me?
No, I have days.
It's been like 2 years for me.
I think you do have mild ADD.
What do you do, Mark?
I don't think I've talked about it on the show exactly.
No.
It's related to sales.
Okay.
I'll talk
It's,
about.
it's hard to imagine you doing a job where you talk for a living.
I know.
Mark's
I know.
usually so quiet. It's really a stretch of the imagination there.
I do talk to people for a living. I feel like not giving specifics on the show, but I will happily tell you when the show's done.
Best film you've seen recently?
Oh, I wish it was best TV show I'd seen recently, because that would be an easier topic.
Well, it's not.
I don't watch modern films. The last great film I saw was Lawrence of Arabia. Great war
really...
film. You guys,
yeah, I mean,
that's a classic English war film, but I guess you guys wouldn't know.
Well, I get. Don't you guys win? Like it's like the British divide up the Middle East in that one.
Oh yeah, we always win. Yeah. Occasionally, the Americans show up and get a bit of glory. We dole it out to you occasionally, but
I see you don't like the modern stuff where the British don't get to dole up the world. Are you a fan of Eddie Izzard?
No. Oh God, no. Wait, he's trying to become a politician.
I thought you were gonna say a woman, but yeah, that too.
What? Yeah, he'll never achieve that, Mark.
So, Mark, no movies?
Oh, what movie have I seen? Jay, what do you answer what I think?
I saw a good. It was an Indian film. It was called Andhadhun, and it was this guy who was he was pretending to be blind, and he was a piano player, and he was doing that to basically get sympathy and get more famous. So he gets hired to play for this rich woman's house while her husband isn't home. And so he goes there to play the piano, and she had just gotten done like murdering some guy. And so he has to like keep this farce that he's blind. And eventually,
until you said murder, I thought this was on Pornhub.
Then I have some movies to tell you about.
So basically, she catches on that he's not blind, and it goes from there. It's a really good movie.
There was a movie I saw. Okay, so this was not within the last year, I think. It was about this woman meets a guy actually in the grocery store. They start dating. Like she's like the movie starts off with her on a bad date with someone else. Then she meets this guy in the grocery store. They start dating. Everything's going well, and he takes her up to like his house. He lives a little far away, and when he gets up there, he basically chains her up and tells her he's going to cook her because he basically sells human flesh.
Brilliant.
And then like it goes from there. It was an interesting movie.
These used to be, you couldn't buy these when I was a kid. They were under the counter. They used to call them video nasties in the UK, maybe.
Yeah,
but that was at the same time as well, where kids were going around stealing Volkswagen badges and trying to look like the Beastie Boys. So it's a while ago.
But yeah, have you seen anything? So I guess like if I want to go to TV shows, there are a couple TV shows I watched recently that I like. I watched Severance on Apple TV, which I thought was really good. I also watched the WeWork show on Apple TV also. And now I'm watching this other show called Tehran on Apple TV, which seems pretty good so far.
All right.
What are you guys watching?
I'm watching Blind Spot.
You've been watching Blind Spot for goddamn forever, Jay.
I know.
That came out years ago, right?
Yeah, but it ended like 2 years ago.
Okay. Jay, it's probably like 16 seasons to get through.
No, there's 5. What I was doing, I was watching Blind Spot and Blacklist, and I was alternating, and I felt like I wasn't making progress in either one. So I decided
I wasn't making enough progress. God damn it! I have a job to do. I gotta watch this stuff.
So I decided to just cruise through Blind Spot and then go to Blacklist when I'm done.
Steve, what do you like? What have you been watching recently?
The show that you guys will relate to probably is Chicago Fire. Or the whole sort of Chicago. No?
It's on CBS, NBC.
I don't know. I just assume that I download everything, to be quite honest with you, so I don't get the network thing. So right.
Yeah, I've heard of the show. It's so weird with TV now. There's like so many shows on so many different networks and so many like services that like no one's watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, right. So you've got Chicago Fire, you've got Chicago PD, you've got Chicago fucking hospital, whatever it may be called. I don't watch that one. MD probably for you guys.
So most of your shows around Chicago. Like you watch like a cooking show about Chicago
no,
pizza.
Jay, Mark, dude,
Chicago the musical.
they're your shows, but we
like
get them piped over.
Send the Chicago shows to the UK. We don't want that shit.
Yeah, so we watch the trash that you can't consume. But very good show, but a bit dramatic, I think. I think that these drama shows maybe over-egg it a little bit.
Did you watch the so a show that Jay didn't love, but my all-time favorite show is The Wire. Did you watch The Wire?
I watched the first episode about 3 or 4 times, and I can't understand the fucking accents. I really can't understand what those guys are saying.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand you guys more about 50-60%, but that street stuff, that's man.
You know, 2 of the main actors are British, and they put on American accents for the show, which is like you have no idea they're British. Basically,
that's just rubbing it in.
It really is rubbing in. Like the acting ability is so much better than our acting ability. They're like, we need good actors. Let's just see if the Brits can do an American accent because I can't take any American actors.
I'm told it's the greatest TV show of all time.
I love it. It's my favorite show. I've watched it twice. I think it was even better the second watch. And so you're gonna think less of me though when I put on a show and if I put on a show and I find out it's British, people putting on the accents. I'm like, well, I guess I won't find out how good the show is.
How do you guys find regional accents in the UK? Like, can you tell the difference between, like, say me? I've got no accent really, but the difference between me and say somebody from Scotland or Ireland.
I can tell the difference between you and someone from China, but no, I cannot do any regional. No, not at all. Maybe Ireland. Maybe.
Let me try an accent, right? So if I'm talking normally as an Englishman, and then I switch to Scottish, right, a bit more slow and
yeah, that's.
Is that harder to understand?
A little.
Jay,
bit.
What do you think?
I think a little bit. Yeah. There's one region of the UK that like I can't understand a thing.
So you know what? There was a movie.
I don't know which region, but there's one region where it's very hard for me to understand.
Do you guys remember the movie Snatch?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Brad Pitt was in it. It was a good movie, and I remember there was some region of, I believe, of the UK where the accent was so hard to understand in the movie.
Yeah. They actually have subtitles just for Brad Pitt's character in that movie.
He was playing a gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be careful how I put this because referred to as pikeys, but gypsy people don't like that reference.
Why don't gypsy? What is implied by saying the word gypsy?
Well, gypsies are just sort of roving people, right?
Okay.
And the term pikey, as we come to it, is from turnpikes. They camped at turnpikes, which is not a term in common usage in the UK, but I'm guessing it is with you guys, just going from the Simon and Garfunkel song, the counting the cars at the New Jersey Turnpike.
Well, the term
for America.
The term
Jay,
turnpike.
You're a musical guru.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just watching Mark like completely draw a blank.
The word pikey is not really used in the U.S. As far as I mean, I also am like I know nothing as far as like lingo, but pikey is not a popular term as far as I understand. But turnpike is a term for just the turnpike. Do you know? Hey, I have a question for you. Do you know the term sus?
Sus, yeah.
Like sus, I think means you're sketchy, and cap means you're lying. You heard the term cap, like you're capping.
Well, I thought cap was a modern internet phrase. I mean, I'm 46 years old, Mark, so I may be wrong on this, but I thought cap was like kidding. You know, kidding. You want to? Is that an American term? Joking.
I thought cap was lying. So my son's 11, so I get all these terms from him. And he'll say sus or like say you're capping. And at first I thought he was just making shit up, but then it turns out like other people use these phrases also.
Just tell him to speak English.
Sus is from the game Among Us.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, sus is an abbreviation of suspect, surely.
Right.
Yeah. Suspicious, yeah. But they
see this is the terrible thing about America and our relationship with you guys, is that we gave you a perfectly good language, and you fucked it all up.
Just massacre it all the time, yeah.
Listen.
Guys.
The entire world uses the metric system, and we use a more complicated and dumber system because we're fucking American.
We invented time.
I thought you invented time.
We took time and divided it into two, so whenever you say like 9 o'clock, you never know if you're talking about AM or PM.
Listen. We invented the question mark.
That was sneaky.
We're running out of time.
We're not gonna get through our top. I put so much work into our top fives, Jay.
Well, it's not like they, explode and,
I should have put that setting in my phone with explode.
For the top 5.
Did you not tell Steve Jay? Did you not even tell him the idea?
No, I didn't.
We haven't even really done the either or, which I was really looking forward to. As well.
Oh,
Okay.
You want to do the either or? Can we do the either or, Jay?
So, well, yes.
The would you rather's.
It's only 2:45 in the morning here. It's fine.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Thank
so
you for staying
we'll do
up.
the would you rather. We'll do the other top 5 next week.
Your voice is very soothing at 3 in the
I
morning.
just hope it's been okay and entertaining.
It's been great.
You come on anytime you want. Like
Yeah.
seriously, this has been great.
We're not just saying that. It's been good. All right.
The problem is anything I say sounds sarcastic, but I've really enjoyed having you on.
That was a Kids of the Hall skit. It was Dave Foley, and everything he said sounded super sarcastic. He's like, "Oh no, I'm loving this."
This is
Okay.
fantastic.
Let's do the would you rather's, and Steve, why don't you lead us?
With a would you rather?
Did you wait? Okay, so Jay? Did you tell him the idea that we all make the list, or he's just going to listen to our list?
I said that's we're doing would you rather's. Did you make would you rather, Steve?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, so that's fine. It's getting late. It'll go
go slightly faster.
Now we have 10 instead of 15. That's great.
How about we just ask Steve? How about we instead of us answering? How about just Steve answers the would you rather?
Well, I could go with an old classic if you haven't done it before, because I've come across this as a party game here. Would you rather?
It's okay. Why don't? How about we'd rather you answer the would you rather's?
Okay.
Okay. And the first one is an American. It's a bit. So I said, have you watched American football?
I'm aware of it. I've seen the T-shirt you're wearing, Jay. Marc, why do I keep calling you fucking? Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay, Jackson.
Okay.
Tyler, please.
Thanks,
Would you rather return a football kickoff against an NFL team, or bat against a pitcher who throws 100 miles per hour but has control issues?
I'm going to take the running back the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
The kickoff, mind you, you have guys who are 250 to 300 pounds who are trying to kill you.
I'm running right out of bounds.
It's insane. It's the wrong answer because with a pitcher, there's there's going to be 4, I suppose, if you're lucky. If they're all balls, right?
The pitch could be pretty scary, especially if the guy has control issues. 100 miles per hour seems pretty fucking scary.
Yeah.
Listen, you're talking to a limey. I think that pitchers run into the linebackers and then throw a Hail Mary to the point guard.
All my would you rather's are going to be purely American culture. Go on, Jay.
Right. Okay.
Would you rather be in a band that makes a ton of money but is widely ridiculed, like Nickelback, or be in a well-respected band that makes just enough money to keep touring? Kind of like the Pixies.
Okay. Jay, you know how you remind me of?
Do I get to make Kim Deal in either?
There you go.
You
You
get to-
guys both made a reference to one of the bands, but Mark didn't get your reference, Steve.
I did not get the reference. I don't know the Pixies very well, but I do know the shittier band. Which one do you choose?
Me, personally, I'd choose the band where I don't have to look like that guy out of Nickelback with the big mullet. I know they're coming back into fashion, but fuck me. There is no excuse for that haircut.
If you do the Nickelback thing, then you can work on your own passion projects. If you do the Pixie thing, you're just living a life on the passion project.
I'm still thinking that I made the wrong choice with the... Can I take the picture?
Okay, so my next one. Would you rather sing the Barbie song? Remember the Barbie song? I'm a Barbie girl.
Barbie girl.
Would you
I
rather
bet you
sing
don't know that name of that band, Mark.
Oh, Jesus.
Aqua?
It is Aqua. Wow.
Where were they from?
Nailed it! Jay's like, I have 7 of their albums.
Where were they from?
Earth.
Yes.
I have a question. Why is no one ever pro Earth? No one's ever like Earth. Like he's like, yes, US, yes, London, yes, UK. People always cheer for their countries. They cheer. No one ever cheers for Earth.
The crazy thing, Mark, they're probably the second most popular band from Sweden.
Aqua?
Earth.
Yeah.
With ABBA being the first one?
Yeah, from Earth.
Wow. From Earth. The only time people cheer for Earth is in that movie Independence Day. I thought we were all united in that one. Would you rather
Just the Americans.
Would you rather sing the part? You know what? We should call it, instead of the World Series, we should call it the Earth Series. Would you rather sing the Barbie song in a stadium before 50,000 people, or give a congratulatory speech at your ex's wedding?
What was the first one?
Sing the Barbie song in a stadium before 50,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
or give a congratulatory speech at your ex's wedding.
I'm going with the ex's wedding.
How sincere do we have to be at the ex's wedding?
You got to be sincere. You can't be a jackass.
I find that hard.
Not going to go with Barbie. What are you going to go with?
From the audience's point of view, I think that probably being sincere at my ex's wedding would be easier on their ears. But no, I couldn't do it. I'd roast my ex, I suppose, and sing Barbie Girl terribly.
I'm pretty sure what you would do at your ex's wedding would say, "Congratulations, I'm the one that put the turd in the toilet. That was me many years ago."
Can I have my electric devices back, please?
Jay, what's your next one?
Would you rather be offered the starring role in a movie but have 3 months to get in perfect shape, or you get fired and lose everything, or be offered a supporting role and you can look the way you do now?
We're all good-looking guys here. That's a difficult question, really.
I think I would go with the star. If the starring, then you probably have a trainer that gets you like into shape, and then all you have to do is get in shape. You'd probably be in the best shape of your life.
Mm-hmm. There's the chance.
I feel like I'm back at school again. What was the fucking question?
Do you want the Do you want the supporting role or be the star? The star role, you have to get in shape. If you don't get in shape, you don't get the star role. It's supporting role, you get to be yourself.
All right.
The less risk.
Star role, absolutely. What you get free training.
Steve, you got siblings?
Yes.
Okay, so and your
I know what siblings means.
Cool. We took the language from you, so I was hoping you would. Do you and your sibling make $100,000 a year, or you make $110,000, which is more, and your sibling makes $500,000 more, $500,000 a year?
I'd take the money for myself.
No, I'm saying you either you make $100,000 and your sibling makes the same, or you make slightly more and your sibling makes way more than you.
I'd fuck my sibling. Yeah, no bollocks to that.
So you would take less money, so your sibling makes the same.
Well, yeah, she's got to work herself, my sister as it is, into a position where she gets a similar offer.
But you're taking the initial answer, you're taking less money to screw her, basically.
Well, no. I'm just saying it's about maximizing your opportunities.
Well,
she may not have gone through the turmoil of getting herself invited on a podcast like this, where she'd be offered that kind of deal, right? So it's good for her soul that she'd have to work her way up to this pinnacle, like I have.
Jay, are you taking the extra money and letting your sister make $500,000 a year,
Yeah.
or you prefer to take a little bit less money so your sister makes the same money as you?
I'm gonna take the extra money.
Okay,
It's for me, not so much for her benefit, but it's for my benefit.
Your parents be like, Jay, I wish you could do as well as your sister. Your sister's really kicking ass. Why is your sister doing so much better than you, Jay?
I'd be like, I take it back. Let's go back to 100 each.
What's your next one?
Would you rather be a low talker or a close talker? And yes, I was watching a lot of Seinfeld this week.
What the hell is a low talker?
Did you watch Seinfeld at all?
No. That never took off in the UK, really.
A low talker is when you talk really quietly and people can't really hear you.
Okay.
And a close talker is someone that gets too close for most people's comfort when they're talking to you.
So the dynamic is basically, would I rather be Jay or would I rather be Mark?
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
Right, gotcha. Fucking hell, that's a spot. Oh, you want an answer too?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I would rather have
They're both very
Jay's
annoying.
body and Mark's voice. How about that?
I think you flipped those. I'm almost positive you flipped that.
Would you rather walk in on your parents who are in the middle of an S&M session,
No.
or have your parents walk in as you are climaxing from self-pleasure?
I'd rather walk in on the parents doing it because I can walk out again. There's no telling what they'll do if they walk in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Your
find
eyes,
out more about them than
your eyes are pretty scarred. You're pretty like that. You will never lose that vision of your mom whipping your dad.
It's like that Seinfeld where his mom walked in on George and she fell and hurt her back and she ends up in the hospital. Yeah,
I always have the option there of saying, "Mum, Dad, busy, leave us to it." But I can't. In the other scenario, I can't sort of say, "Mum, Dad, stop that," and they might carry on. And why am I here?
Jay, what do you pick here?
Yeah, I'm walking in on my parents.
Okay. Jay, what's your next one?
Everything you eat tastes very sweet, or everything you eat tastes very salty. Everything.
Okay, which
Everything.
American diet do you want?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go salty. I like salt a lot.
I've got nothing. I've got nothing.
Seems like I'm sorry. We don't live like absolute pigs like you guys do. So I don't even understand your question.
I mean, so I'm trying to think of like if I had pizza that would taste sweet or so. Most food tastes salty, I suppose. That's reasonably healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with salty, I think.
Would you rather never have access to a cell phone or portable tablet again, so you cannot bring the internet or a phone with you ever again, or get a mild electric shock every time you say a word with the letter A in it? So basically, you cannot use a word, you cannot use the letter A again without getting a mild shock.
I'm
going to go with the shock.
I'm going to go with the shock. Absolutely.
You're so tied to your phone that you'd rather live a life of getting shocks when you use the letter A.
Yeah.
That's what I thought people would say.
Wait, no, hang on. I got this back to front. No. Right, no. Wait.
Not having a phone right now is like, it's pretty bad. Like, it's just such a part of life, having your phone. To not have a phone.
I could live without a phone, no problem.
You could live with a phone before we had phones, but can you live with one now?
Can I live without a phone and get the electric shock?
On
You
your
want
balls,
both?
yes.
Brilliant.
That's actually what you saw your mom doing to your dad when you walked in.
It's a very British peculiar thing, Mark.
Jay, what's your last one?
Would you rather have a podcast with a small but loyal following, or have a huge podcast but it only lasts for 1 year because you got canceled by something you said?
So be really popular for a year, or
And then you're absolutely
be us.
finished. Yeah. Or be us, yeah.
I am going to. It would probably be pretty embarrassing though if you everyone would know you're the guys that like said that terrible thing.
Right.
I don't want to be canceled in that way, so I think.
Mark,
no.
I don't mean to lead you here at all, but
lead me with your debonair voice.
What might that terrible thing be?
Let's see. I am Jewish, so we wouldn't go down that rabbit hole. What else could we say, Jay?
Could you maybe insult Kanye West?
I don't think that would get us canceled.
No.
I think what would get us canceled, Jay? You know what? We would basically say something about like insulting fat women, and they'd be like
Circumferentially generous, you mean to say?
Horizontally
yes.
enhanced. Yes.
Yes, women that need extra loving. I would somehow say something rude about that because I'm more likely to say something rude about that. Or I'd probably just throw out the word retarded accidentally and we get canceled.
There you go.
That's the end of the show then.
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know how that retarded guy still slept with that fat woman, and like to be like, we don't know what to be offended by. That whole thing's offensive.
And one of those two people were Jewish.
Yes. And the other person posted on Twitter.
All right,
Steve, how do you end your podcast?
I normally end it by playing a bit of Monty Python and saying that it all went horribly wrong.
Oh, we have
Awesome.
we have a Discord channel now for Brink. So check out Brink of Sanity 3 on Twitter. The link to the Discord's in there. I posted the link in our Facebook page, or you could email us to brinkofsanity@gmail.com and I'll send you a link. Two quick questions. Andrew wants to know, when is the Trump 2024 podcast starting?
Yes, we should totally switch to that.
And Andrew also writes, is crypto dead?
Do you remember? I don't know how hardcore of you're a fan, or how much of a hardcore fan you are, Steve. But do you remember when we briefly talked about having a Trump podcast?
I remember the podcast where you recommended buying crypto.
I said my theory was that Trump was so popular that we could just change the name to the Trump podcast, but keep doing the Brink show and not even talk about Trump. And people would just download extra downloads just because we're doing something that has the word Trump on it.
Hey,
It would just be like just fooling people with the name.
everyone needs a right-wing conspiracy comedy show, I suppose.
Yes.
Don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the second question, Jay?
Is crypto dead?
Is crypto dead? Steve, what do you think?
I think that it's not necessarily clinically dead, but perhaps showing signs that it should be supported by people who are far more equipped to answer questions like that.
Do you know the guy from behind FTX spent the weekend trying to raise more money?
Why? 'Cause
Calling
he
people
went
being
from-
like, and just being like, hey, yeah, you're the massive fraud. Yeah. But my next venture, you've got to get in on this.
Well, it's a Ponzi scheme, isn't it? I'm not educated on this, but
I don't know if it was officially, because Ponzi scheme has like a certain definition, but it basically works out that way. He basically stole investors' money.
I mean, if you're worth 16 billion, don't you take like 1 billion out just in case? Like, why leave it all
He
in there?
did. At the end, he took 1 billion out just in case. He stole it basically from the at the end. Basically, they said the site got hacked, and they're like, "Who hacked it?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he's wearing a pair of like fake glasses, like glasses and a nose.
Awesome.
in the UK, that's what we call the American dream. And your great
Oh.
hope is that one day somebody's going to ride in on a white horse, maybe with a ginger wig that's flapping in the air, a bit of a comb over, and he's going to save you all.
I thought you were calling the American Dream a Ponzi scheme.
Well,
I
it's also-
didn't actually say that.
It helps. All right, Steve, it's been awesome. I felt like we had better chemistry with you than we've had with other people. So thank you for joining.
Yeah,
If you'll fly here, Jay will let you sleep in his bed.
No, I'm not going. This has been terrible.
What's
Have you enjoyed your experience on our show?
No.
Oh well, that sucks.
I
Would you
have-
should we come onto your show and tell people not how to play video games?
You got me with the New York Jets t-shirt.
Thank you.
Ken O'Brien. Let's go. Why didn't we draft Dan Marino? Come on.
There's so much wrong with our franchise, but the Jets, they might go to the playoffs this year.
Okay, people need to get off Zach Wilson's back, right? That's the best conversation we've had.
I was at the game last weekend with my son, and they had a dramatic victory against the Bills. It was awesome.
Yep.
So, Steve, you have the Foot Fetish podcast?
I have the Foot Focus podcast
Foot
where
Focus.
we talk seemingly sensible stuff about video games. If people, I mean, it's popular in the States these days. Soccer, I think you call it.
Mhm.
Is that-
I'm just curious. Like, you were on the show. We covered a lot of topics. How many of the topics, the week, like in the Venn diagram of topics, how much do we cross here?
It's difficult to give an auditory answer to a Venn diagram question, Mark.
Do we cross over here? Any topics we have on our show that were covered on your show too?
Yeah, loads. And people will have to check out the At Foot Focus pod to figure out exactly what they are.
Can we go to your show to learn the rest of the story of the toilet that went flush?
Shall I say yes if you'll leave me alone and I'll never have to come back?
So shows like this are
kidding.
really
I've loved it.
Really fun for me to do show notes on because Mark, you were so ADD today. I have no idea how to even write show notes for this episode.
I was wondering if we'd have enough to talk about.
Yeah, never a problem with you. We didn't even get to one of the top fives. Anyway, our comedy newsletter is coming out in 2023, sometime probably early January. So the brinkofsanity.substack.com. You can subscribe now, and then you'll automatically get a comedy newsletter in your inbox 5 days a week.
Holy shit, that's a lot of pressure on us.
It is. We're working on a lot of content, so stay tuned for that. Please subscribe. And that's it, right? We're done.
Steve, thank you so much for being on. You were awesome.
Thanks for having me. I'm joking. I've enjoyed it. I've loved every minute.
Excellent.
Trump 24.
Awesome.
Or not. Who cares?
Who cares? 2024. I should run for president again.
Jay should really run for president again.
Well, we'll see. Maybe that'll be next week's announcement. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.